Hello, world. It's John Pinto, your roving realtor, bon vivant, video blogger, and podcaster, here with Ted Stephanos from HomeGuard Natural Hazard Disclosure. Hello, Ted.
Hi, John. How you doing today? Thanks for having us.
I'm doing really well. And Rafael Betances, Dominican shortstop and North Bay representative for HomeGuard, roof termite, home and pool inspections. How are you today, Rafael?
A pretty good intro. I'm pretty good, John. Thank you.
Very
Appreciate
good.
that.
And the second baseman. And the
Yeah,
second
middle
baseman.
infield, middle infield.
Very good. So, with the NHD natural hazard disclosure, the question du jour is going to be, and I will give some context after I ask the question, how long are those reports good for? For instance, when we get a roof report, we get a termite inspection report, we get a home inspection report or pool report, even prelims, preliminary title reports, they do have a tendency to get a little long in the tooth after a couple of months. Sometimes you want to do updates on them. Can you enlighten us on how long a natural hazard disclosure is good for and when you should think about updating it?
Okay, great question because we get this. That's a very common question. Honestly, they're good for the date they're prepared on, uh, but we can update the report at any time at no additional fee. So, for example, in the month of November 2020, we updated about 75 dams that the state, the Department of Water Resources updated, had another update of dam inundation maps that are updated. We don't control when those get updated. They're usually every 3 or 4 months. But I think it was, about 70 dams that we updated. Ventura County just updated their general plan, so all the maps for Ventura County just changed. I can go on and on. There's, FEMA flood zones get changed all the time. It may be in a specific area, say city of San Jose, there maybe hasn't been any changes for a while, but we really don't know when or where those changes are going to happen. And it's a constant full-time job to stay on top of information that we are pulling in from federal, state, county level sources. So uh, honestly, it's a tough question to answer because it's really good for the date that they're prepared on, but how often should a real estate agent update the report? I would say, in a typical listing period, they don't need to update it, but if it's been at least 3 months, I would probably come and give us a call and check and see if it needs to be updated.
Well, what I would suggest, Ted, is we look at it like this. I find listings are usually pretty binary. The competent listing agent does a vigilant and accurate competitive market analysis, explains it cogently to the sellers. The sellers comply with the recommendation, put it on the market. There's easy access. It's on the multiple listing service. It's fully exposed. They get a lot of interest in the first weekend. They get an offer. It goes into escrow and it sells 30 days later. Under that scenario, probably no update is necessary, correct?
100% agree.
Okay, then scenario number two is the listing agent and the sellers are arm wrestling over the price. The listing agent is disingenuous in their recommended price and just giving the seller a high price because they figure, quote unquote, they'll do the highest bid. And if I give them the highest price, they'll list with me. And or they offer an accurate price and the seller pushes back and says, my neighbor told me I should list it for X plus 20%. They go through a series of price reductions. 4 months later, it's still available. They finally reduce the price. It goes into escrow after 5 months, and we're ready to close after 6 months. Under that scenario, we probably need to update the natural hazard disclosure, correct?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to give an example, here it is December 2020, and we just before we went live, I updated a report in Garden Grove in Orange County that was ordered in August. And they escrow canceled, and so they have a new buyer. So they wanted a new NHD report. So that doesn't cost them anything. It just, except for the time to contact us to update the report. Sometimes there's a new escrow number. Sometimes it might switch escrow companies. And so those are other times where they would want an updated NHD report, because you have a new buyer, you don't want to give them a report that's 3 or 4 months old. You want to have a fresh date on it. So yeah, so there's a couple different, one, the house may stay on the market for a long time, or it could be a new escrow.
Mhm. Okay, so let me ask you kind of a little bit of an off the wall question. If I wanted to subscribe to some kind of a source to get natural hazard disclosure updates, anytime the maps are redrawn or updated, is there any place I could go for that?
I wish.
No.
And make my job easier.
How do you get updated?
Well, thanks to the internet, there are email lists that you can stay on top of. Like, so for example, City of Novato, there's it's usually a 3 or 4 year process to update their general plan. So I can plug in my email address and I get email updates from them anytime. Usually, you see this coming down the road, like they'll update their general plan and there'll be a city council meeting on, November 5th. And then you find out what happens. They update the general plan. Days before the internet, since we're old, or, moderately old gentlemen, we remember those days of fax machines or phone calls where you had to actually call these entities, which was a real pain, because first you had to find the right person and then get the right answer, and then they would have to photocopy things or mail them to you. That was a real painstaking process. Now with the internet, there's a lot of work to do, because we have 500, 600 cities in the California and 58 counties, whatever we have. You can go online and get the information you need. But yeah, there's very little. We have to go search for that information. So it's a process. I have incredible complex spreadsheets of all the contacts that I make to find out information, whether it's, I was just doing a airport influence area update and found a new airport in North Island in San Diego. There's Coronado Island. So they just, all these years, they didn't have an airport influence area for that military airport, North Island. But all of a sudden, November this year, they added that to their slew of whatever 15 airport influence areas in San Diego County. Well, they added a new one. Nobody calls, hey, Ted, we've got a new airport influence area. I have to go search for it.
So these changes could occur anytime, and there's no rhyme nor reason to what geographic areas they're going to affect. And since there's no cost to update the report, it might not be a bad idea to make it a standard practice to update the report when the contingencies on a purchase are scheduled to be removed.
Yeah, I mean, but like you said, if it's only been a couple weeks and it's a quick sell, then probably not. But but yeah, you never know. I mean, that's one thing is, when we're out there doing presentations, we're informing agents of new changes going on too. So if I am up in Napa doing a presentation, well, in the good old days, pre-COVID, I used to physically go to their office meetings and I would do a short 5-minute hot topic update and talk about changes going on in their area. So, when we come into the office, we're not out there promoting HomeGuard and doing a sales pitch. Of course, we're representing HomeGuard, but we're giving them tangible information, like a hot topic. What, as a real estate agent, you need to be aware of these things. So if they hear, we have all these new fault zones, the West Napa fault that ruptured back about 6 years ago. It took the state about 4 years to come out with those fault maps that really didn't exist from an active fault um, state. So the state did update that area, the whole West Napa area, and added a lot of new fault rupture zones in there from the Napa earthquake. So we were up in Napa. I think I did 5 or 6 presentations up in Napa, and talking about these changes. So as a real estate agent, these are things you really should be aware of as well. It's not just me out there doing hot topic updates, but reading the paper, listening to your association about information, newsworthy topics. So,
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, this is good. So everybody knows how often we need to update the natural hazard disclosure, and we talked about the binary approach, something that sells quickly, not so much, something that takes 6 months to close. Maybe we do get an update. So if someone wants to order a natural hazard disclosure, Ted, where do they email the request?
yeah, they can email a request to nhdorders@homeguard.com or go to our website, homeguard.com, and click on the NHD tab. And also, any real estate agents watching or listening, we're free to do Zoom presentations too. I just did one an hour ago for Santa Cruz Association of Realtors for the new agent training. So it was like a 45-minute talk where I went on Zoom presentation going through the entire NHD report for a new agent, but I'm also talking about changes going on too. So, there's a lot of value there, and we can do that as well. So I have different types of presentations that we can do that will it's good for new agents or it's good for seasoned agents, ones that have been in the business for a long time. There's always new things to find out and learn about.
Knowledge is power. Absolutely. And Rafael, if someone wants to order a roof termite or a home inspection or pool report, how do they text or call you?
Absolutely. You can either call me or text me at 707-616-8762. I'll be more than happy to have a conversation.
Excellent. Well, gentlemen, thank you for imparting that information on when we should update a natural hazard disclosure. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you on the next video. Bye.